Welcome back into WCTV Channel 14. We're back with another edition of Senior Spotlights. I'm Logan Lepiscopo, and today I'll be interviewing one of our fall graduates, Brock Owens. Brock, it's been a pleasure to be alongside you the past 3 years I've been here. Let's talk about your 4 years here at Waynesburg, starting with how you got here. What really was that extra step to get you to Waynesburg?
All right, well, as you mentioned, it really was an extra step for me because when I came here, I didn't come right out of high school. Out of high school, I went to Pittsburgh at Johnstown, which is literally right next to my high school, and I was a biology major actually, and then I only did that for one semester. I didn't really like it. I didn't feel happy at all going to class or anything, so I went to the community college in my town for a semester to just kind of get back on track and that sort of thing before I came here to Waynesburg. And what really brought me here to Waynesburg was someone who graduated last year. Riley Holsinger was one of my best friends throughout high school, and I've known him for a long time. And he came here out of high school, and he was just having a really good time. He was doing a lot of the things that we had really talked about doing for a really long time. It seemed really exciting, and so I just wanted to see if it was for me, and I've had a lot of really great times here.
So you talk about being at your hometown, going to community college there, Johnstown, Millrats, where you did your internship at, with Riley. Mm-hmm. How was that, and what would you say is the biggest takeaway from your internship bringing back to Waynesburg?
Yeah, so for my internship, a couple of the things I really took away were, number one, and it's in a book you're going to read in Practicum. It's by Randy Pausch. So basically, no job's beneath you. And that was kind of a really big thing for me during my internship. And because I did a lot of different things, and some of them aren't really like career paths I'm looking to go through, like running the video board for the Millrats or playing the music or whatever. I did some of that, and I also created some videos. I wrote articles. So those things were a little better for me as far as my career path, but I was willing to do really whatever they needed me to do, and as long as I was helping out the organization, I was pretty happy with that.
That's what they always preach here at Waynesburg, trying to get our foot in the door, just get your hands dirty, as a lot of people would say. And you're a sports media major, focused in announcing. I have to ask, I'm kind of putting you on the spot here. In your time here at Waynesburg, what would you say was your favorite announcing call that you've done for Waynesburg sports?
Oh boy, yeah, that's a tough one. Earlier this year, I'd say it was the game against Carnegie Mellon when Dakota Romantino had a couple of touchdowns. He had a really long one on a slant that he took the whole way to the house. That one was fun to announce. I really liked that one.
So you have a ton of experience with announcing here at Waynesburg. You're going to have a lot of experience here in the near future. You're moving on after Waynesburg back to your hometown in Johnstown, being an MMJ reporter. How did you get to wanting to be back in your hometown for your career after Waynesburg?
So I was mostly looking for a job in news, for a news station, and I was talking to a couple of stations, and that one it really intrigued me to be able to start in my hometown. A lot of people that I know are still there. I have my family's still there, so it's going to be really good for me as far as in my personal life. I'm going to have a lot of great times with my friends that are still there, being able to spend time with family, and they're going to be able to see a lot of my work that I'm doing to start off my career. And I'm also going to be living at home, so that's going to save me quite a bit of money as well starting out.
Yeah, that's absolutely a huge plus, living close to home, especially after all the money poured into being at Waynesburg. I think WGAC definitely got a good one here in Johnstown. But moving on a little bit back to Waynesburg, we have a ton of professors here in the department with hands-on work. Who would you say was the most influential or most helpful professor in your time here at Waynesburg?
That's really tough. That's really tough. Since my job right out of college is going to be news, I have to give a shout out to Melinda, because there's no doubt in my mind that I would not be going into this job specifically if Melinda wasn't here. Because she had a long career in news and all that kind of stuff. And when I came in, I was not really looking to do so much news. I was really just in the sports. I was a really big sports fan. I still am. That hasn't changed. But I really got into news and news production and making news videos and stories and all that kind of thing. And a lot of that was influenced by Melinda. Otherwise, I don't know if this is something I would be doing or not out of school. But I also have to give a shout out to Lanny, who was my advisor. He was there for me a lot. I really enjoyed him being my advisor and all the stuff he taught me, both with announcing and an on-air personality, and also just in personal life as well. And Professor Krause, I got to give a shout out to as well, because he's really built this department a lot. So, I don't know that we would have as many great opportunities as we do have here at Waynesburg without him kind of grinding out the last nearly 30 years now.
So you talk about the most influential professors you've had during your time here at Waynesburg. You're moving into television. What would you say is one piece of advice that you would give to somebody looking for a career in television? Whether you got that from a professor or just something that you've experienced here in your time at Waynesburg.
All right, so one thing I would definitely start with if you're looking for a career in television is don't expect it to be easy. It's a fun job. It's going to be fun, but there's going to be hard times. And more than anything, you're going to have to work a lot for it. There's a lot of really long days where I would wake up in the morning and, get started 7, 8 in the morning or whatever, and then I wouldn't be done working until midnight, 1, 2 in the morning, So there's going to be long days like that. But to me, it's kind of been all worth it because, it's only about a week or so from when we're filming this interview to when I'm basically going to be done with school, and I have a job lined up that I'm really excited for, and there's going to be hard days there too, I'm sure, but I'm excited to get to work and really just accept those long hours along with all the great times that are coming with it.
So you talk about the long days, the long hours. One thing that sticks out to me that we did very recently for WUSN is covering the wrestling here at the Rudy Marisa Fieldhouse. It was a long day. A lot of people took part in it. What were your thoughts from that, or what did you gather from that long day in terms of perhaps a career path or what it's going to be like in the real world with your actual job?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't just wrestling. We hosted last spring. We hosted the Wrestling PAC Championships, which was also followed up by a basketball doubleheader here at home. So yeah, that was a day for sure. And we had to get there early in the morning to set up for wrestling, which was then 4 or 5 hour tournament, and then we had a small break before a basketball doubleheader that went into the night. And that was a hard day, and there was a lot of prep that went into that wrestling broadcast especially, which is the reason why we submitted it for awards and won awards and all that stuff for it. But that was that was a great day at the same time. It was a difficult day, but I had a really good time just with a lot of the people here, and it was something that I'm not going to forget. That's the thing. It's not that it wasn't hard. It's just something that I'm not going to forget, and that is really special to me.
Absolutely. At Waynesburg, we're all about growing, being family, more than friends, turning into family, especially here in the communication department. We're all very close-knit. Where do you see yourself? You're beginning in Johnstown, your hometown. In the next 5-10 years, where would you like to see yourself? What is the end goal for Brock Owens?
Well, the end goal is a little bit different than where I'd like to be in 5 to 10 years. So what I'll say is 5 to 10 years, we're going to have to see. I'll probably be at, maybe a different station, maybe doing news and sports and stuff like that. The end goal, if at all possible, and I think you know where I'm going with this, Logan, because we talk about this all the time. The NFL draft is maybe one of my biggest passions of all time. I don't know what it is about the draft that really just sucks me in, but I love it. I do a lot of work for it, and I don't get paid for it, and I just do it because I love doing it so much. But if I could get paid to do that, that would just be like the ultimate thing in my life personally.
Absolutely. We're both two guys that definitely follow the draft. Probably the closest, especially for two guys that don't get paid to follow all those players coming into NFL draft and stuff. But one final question, since we're on the topic. Bryce Young, CJ Stroud. Who's a better quarterback?
Oh, okay. Right now, I'd have to go with Bryce Young, because the reason I say that is because I don't think CJ Stroud is I don't think he reads the field as well as Bryce Young does, and Bryce Young is just really good in high pressure situations, and Bryce Young also moves a lot better than CJ Stroud. My biggest concern with Bryce Young is kind of the concern I have with a lot of people with his body type, injuries and stuff. I had that concern, a long time ago with, RG3. Obviously, that was a very big problem for him. So that's kind of where I see Bryce Young. But I think he's a better quarterback.
Injuries may be a concern for you, Brock, but I am not concerned about how well you're going to do in your future after Waynesburg. Thank you very much for sitting down with me, doing this interview with me. It's been a true pleasure being with Brock the past 3 years. I'm very excited to see what he does in his endeavors after Waynesburg. Stay tuned to WCTV for all the other senior spotlights right here in Waynesburg.
This has been a production of Waynesburg Community Television.